Hi guys, it's Horsey Steph, and today I am back with another Horse Trainer Reacts to Horse Movies. Again, we are watching Misty currently. If you've missed any of the segments of my reaction to Misty, make sure you check out the description box down below. There will be links to all the other segments that I've already recorded and posted for you guys. And new segments come out every Thursday and Saturday at 5 p.m. So go ahead and tune in to finish watching this movie with me. Today we are going to be watching the pony auction. So in the previous segment, they had rounded up all the ponies and had the first day of their little like carnival or fair or whatever it is. And today it is pony pinning auction day. So that is super, super exciting. I'm excited to see how that goes and whether the kids are actually able to buy the Phantom, which obviously they've been working really hard to save up money to do. And now she has this baby, Misty, which they're also interested in buying. So we'll see how all that goes, especially considering they only have the $100. The Phantom is too old to be sold, and they want 2 horses. If you guys could go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for future videos, that would help me out a ton. And let's go ahead and jump on in and see what happens. I'm not surprised here that they rode with the girl in the saddle and the boy behind the saddle. Seems like a really great way of doing it because I think that he is probably a better rider than she is. We know that that kid can ride, the actual actor can ride. Who knows whether the girl can actually ride. So it's just a little safer to have her in the saddle and have him behind. It's interesting to me that they took this same pony that the boy had ridden in the roundup because it just seems in general like not a very solid pony. So wouldn't have been my first choice to use, especially to have them both ride on double, but I guess this is his chosen pony to ride and they'll probably keep having him ride this every time they show a ride scene in this movie. But I think they've just gotten to the pony auction and they are tying this horse up to a tree, and then they can, you know, go talk to the fire department chief and see what the deal is there. I wouldn't tie my horse up to a tree with a bridle on. Just seems like you're risking them pulling on that bit, ripping open their mouth, etc. But it is something super, super common. It's why cowboys ride with split reins in the first place, so you can easily use those split reins to tie a quick release knot. So I can't judge too hard. It's really common practice, despite something I would never ever do. Oh, it's already sold. How did they get here so late that a pony is already sold? I thought the plan was to get here first thing in the morning. And somehow it's first thing in the morning and Misty is already sold to somebody else. I'm curious if the grandfather might have bought Misty for them. So that would be interesting to find out. He could have easily called up the fire chief to, you know, put in that private sale before the auction even started. Obviously, like, it's not a very fair thing to be buying horses before the auction. I don't know if that's something they actually allow in real life or even maybe allowed back then, don't allow anymore. Who really knows? But it does seem kind of unfair. However, still go with, like, they said they were going to be here first thing in the morning and there are tons of people here already. They obviously have not gotten here first thing in the morning. And the foal they wanted is already sold, so they really should have gotten up here earlier and gotten cracking on that first thing.
Does that mean the Phantom's been sold too?
I doubt that means anything about the Phantom, because again, I don't think that the Phantom is going to be sold. I think they're going to sell the baby and take Phantom back out and release her again because she's too old to be sold, which they seem to be completely ignoring, even though they understood that in the beginning of this movie. So I'm not sure why the kids are now like completely forgetting that point.
Misty's been sold! Who? Misty's the Phantom's colt, sir. We've been saving for months to buy the Phantom.
Alright, so they come up to the fire department chief with this utter panic about Misty being sold, and he's like, what are you talking about? Like, he hasn't named this horse. Nobody else knows this baby has a name. And I think that they've ruined that opportunity to be respectful and mature about it by just coming up and whining and complaining about how a baby has been sold before they had a chance to buy it. Like, oh, woe is me. They should have gotten there earlier, and they should be having a polite conversation with him, not whining and complaining like children, because I don't think that's going to help their cause at all. Obviously, they are children, so I can't judge them too hard, but thus far, they've been very mature children, and this is a very immature thing to do.
We can earn 100 more if you'd only trust us for it. I know we can earn the money. I know we can. We didn't know that the Phantom was going to have a foal.
Alright, so they're going on and on about how they know they can earn the extra money if he'll just sell them to them. They've forgotten to even ask, will he sell them the Phantom? Because that was the number one question they needed to ask and should have asked a long time ago. Because again, she is 3 and they don't sell anything over a year. So they should be starting there before they go whining about how they don't have enough money for both, but they'll get the money. It should just be like, look, we really want the Phantom. Is there any possibility of you selling her to us? And if there is that possibility, then they can go on about how we really wanted both her and her baby, but we only saved up the $100 for her, and the baby already has a soul tag. Is there anything we can do about that? We promise we can make up the extra money, we can work really hard, etc., etc. So that should be what they're doing. Obviously, is not what they're doing, though.
Sorry, I didn't know you wanted them. Come on over here, Scott.
Alright, he's very apologetic. I think he is a really kind man, and he understands that they're kids and they've worked really hard for this. They should have told him sooner. I mean, they've been planning this forever. The fact that this is the first time he's hearing about it is really just poor planning on their part, because obviously he's in charge of all this, so he would be the one that would be most able to help them have accomplished this. So I'm curious what he's going to say and what he might be able to do for them. And I think a lot of it's going to depend on who Misty is already sold to and whether they can convince that person to not buy Misty and let them have Misty instead.
If you'd only told me before. She would be right if I went back on that deal I made with Mr. Foster.
Yeah, so somebody called last night and said they couldn't make it and wanted that foal. And he said, well, the foal's too young to be separated from the mom, so you're going to have to take them both, and he put a deposit down. I get that. That actually does seem logical. It doesn't seem fair because, again, this is supposed to be an auction. And it's interesting to me that they are willing to sell the Phantom just because she has a young baby. Because, again, from everything they've said thus far, they only sell them when they're old enough to be weaned and are yearlings. So they don't sell anything that's still a suckling, and they don't sell anything that's older than a year. So interesting that that would change just because there's this baby everyone is taking a liking to that's obviously a little bit too young to wean. But I'm curious what they can do to work this out. I think the kids are going to have to try to beg this person that has bought Misty to give the horse to them and get his deposit back. But we'll see. The fire chief is being super understanding. He wants to help as much as he can. But he did already make a deal with somebody, and he can't just say, well, never mind, somebody else came to me and I like them better. Right? You can't do that. That's not a fair thing to do at all.
What's the matter with you two?
We sold the Phantom and Misty last night. The man's gonna take them away Saturday.
They're the best yearlings of the whole lot. And the prettiest too, if you ask me.
And the grandfather's happy because he's already bought his 2 yearlings that he thinks are the best in the whole lot, and he got them, so he's very stoked this was successful for him. And obviously he breeds these ponies, so for him, he wants to find what is the best of the best that he can buy and later add to his breeding program. But that doesn't make up for the Phantom and Misty to the kids, because it's not about best horse or anything. They just want her. It's always just been about getting her.
You want to stay and watch them drive the ponies back through town? Or they swim back to Azteec?
It's the same as before, isn't it?
You don't even want to watch the ponies be driven back to Azteec. They're so upset about this. Again, it really does suck, but that's life. Sometimes you don't get what you want, and while I do feel really bad for them, it is life, and there's nothing anyone can really do about it unless they can call up the person that bought Misty and convince him to let them have the Phantom and Misty. That would be the only course of action you could possibly take, and even then it's a long shot because obviously he liked Misty enough to call and buy her before the auction started. So who even knows if he would be open to that sale? They're so sad. It makes me sad. That's impressive, being able to mount from the stirrup behind the saddle with somebody already in the saddle. I don't think I could do that, honestly. Alright, so they're all going back now. And of course, the Phantom was really upset about that because we know she was really close to the Piper, that stallion that they were driving away. And again, she's being ripped from her herd. She's being left here and they're all going home. And even a person's going to be upset about that, much less a horse that really doesn't understand why or what's going on. It's very traumatic for them, so I'm not surprised she's screaming and upset about that.
What'll we do with the money?
I like how he's being really smart about what they can use this money for now that they can't get Misty and the Phantom with it. He's like, maybe we could buy something nice for the grandparents, save up the rest of it for college in the future. Like, that's a very mature way of dealing with money, so good for him. I'm glad that he understands the importance of it, and he's not going to just find something else to blow it on for no reason.
Y'all come here a minute.
Oh, who is that? Oh, the fire chief. Alright, so I think he probably still feels bad that they can't have this pony, so I wonder if he's taken it upon himself to talk to Mr. Foster, the one that bought Misty, and see if he could work something out for them. Because it is the day that the person's supposed to come pick them up, and he's found them to talk to them. It just makes me wonder if potentially he's taken that step and gotten something maybe worked out for them.
Mr. Foster and his son bought them a mare and a foal. They took a chance on that sorrel pony in the raffle. They won the raffle.
Alright, so they both bought Misty and also bought a raffle ticket for a sorrel pony, and they won the sorrel pony and have decided they like the sorrel pony better and really don't want both of them. So that couldn't have worked out better for these kids, because now he's already looking to get rid of Misty and the Phantom because he doesn't want two of them. So that's fantastic, and I'm glad the fire chief heard that and was like, you know what, let me find these kids and see if I can, work something out with them, because obviously they want that foal way more than anyone else, and they've been so upset these past couple days that they couldn't have that foal. So really a great turn of events for them.
And we were wondering if you might possibly think of someone who could take them off his hands for maybe $100.
And he's asking if they could maybe take him off Mr. Foster's hands for $100 because he put some money down on him. He wants to earn that money back. But again, they were already sold, so it's not as bad as buying them fresh in auction. That works out perfectly for them. They can spend their $100, get their ponies, and go on their merry way, and it was just a little blip in the road that they were ever sold to somebody else.
Mr. Foster, you got yourself a deal.
They're so excited. Oh, they've gentled that pony very quickly. I'm not surprised the Phantom is going to be much harder to gentle. She's a lot older, a lot more used to being wild, and also, again, that kind of sensitive, watchful, wary kind, which is going to be harder to gentle than something that's a little more quiet, thinking, waiting for stuff to happen. She's just on top of everything already, so it's about the hardest thing you could gentle, I'm sure. But I'm so excited that they got these ponies and that everything worked out for them despite their kind of lack of communication and not really being on top of everything and preventing the little blip in the first place. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that segment of Misty. I'm so glad that the kids were able to get the pony at the end of it all, even though I think that they really could have said something about wanting the Phantom and Misty a lot sooner. They waited until the very last minute, and then she slipped through their hands, and just luckily for them, everything worked out, and the person that bought them ended up looking to rehelm them anyway. So that's super exciting. I am curious to see how taming the Phantom goes, because I think they are going to struggle a lot with that. Partly because, you know, they've already mentioned throughout this whole movie that the older ones are hard to gentle. But I also think it's going to be difficult because, you know, she is that kind of watchful, wary type that's on top of everything. She's going to be really hard to earn trust and isn't going to be super interested in trusting them in the first place. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.